Sorensen, and this is my Capstone presentation. My film Capstone is a music video that I wrote, produced, and directed and recorded called The Last Dance. And I think the best way to start my presentation is to let me speak for myself. Throughout my process, I've had lots of technical difficulties. I've had hardware difficulties, I've had software difficulties, pretty much any type of difficulty you can imagine, I've probably had it. Except for people showing up on time. People have been pretty punctual. The human element of my capstone has actually been very consistent. However, the technical has been a little bit different. Alrighty, so we will get this video up and running. And so this video is just a little bit about my process, just from when it happened, which I think is the best way to share how this has gone for me. I'm ready for this project to be over. I just had my last shoot, so it's a wrap. It's done, and so I just wanted to kind of record what I'm feeling right now. I'm really excited to edit, and that's all I had to say. So I'm currently exporting one of the scenes that I was just working on, and I'm hoping to next week show an entire rough cut. It's ambitious, but I think I can do it, and I have a lot of work to do with sound and color and everything, so I think it'll be really good to get that done. So it's the Monday before senior projects day. I just need to record the vocals for The Last Dance and then lay it on top, clean up the audio a little bit, and I will hopefully be ready to go on Wednesday, so I have something to show. Because I want to have something to show you, and there's a lot of hard work that has gone into showing you things, so you should know the level of stress. That's how I'm feeling. So I wanted to show you that just to give you guys a flavor of how I've been feeling over the past semester and the past year and the kind of stress that I'm under, because I am a double major, I am doing 2 capstones, so that has been a huge amount of stress on me, especially being in the opera that's being performed this weekend on campus. So there's a lot going on, and I'm just trying to get through all of that. And so when I talk about it, I'll start with my inspirations. So I watched a lot of music videos when I was getting ready to make this project. I watched a lot of Troye Sivan, and I really like how narrative his music videos are. And this gift that I'm showing here is from Heaven, and it has a lot of very carefully crafted close-ups and lots of shadows, and that's something that I incorporated into several of my scenes. A dance is a big part of this as well, and so this video of Mike Snow, that was a big part of that, was incorporating dance, and I decided to focus on ballet, which was an interesting choice early on that really helped craft my final product. I also used a lot of slow motion and animation to help really bring it to life and kind of show all of my skills, because the idea of a capstone is it's the culmination of my entire university career. And so I'm incorporating music, I'm incorporating animation, I'm incorporating cinematography. I'm doing all of these things that I've been learning and really pulling them into this one project. And I also have a lot of narrative scenes, which is why I have the Halsey clip there, because that was very important to me to kind of break away from what a music video is. And I've made a couple music videos before. This is not my first time around the block. So the first music video I made is this My Shoes, which is I made my freshman year during the winter, and so I went home. I was super excited about film my freshman year, and this is what I made in just a couple of days. And it was claymation. It was very basic. It was with my mom's old digital camera. So it was really rough, but it was a great learning experience, and I learned a lot, and I learned what it takes to animate, and I learned what a music video could be if I make it myself. And then Childhood Resurgence was my final project for my animation class that I took my sophomore spring. And I was also in composition at the time with music, because that's what I'm interested in with my music major is composition. I'm interested in writing music. And so I took this song Palpitations that I had written, and I crafted an animation for that. And I want to keep doing that. So I've talked a little bit about myself, and I've talked about where I am in kind of my creative process in my body of work. And so let's talk about this specific music video. So The Last Dance is a music video about two women who meet in university. And they meet in biology class, they have dance together, and they form this really tight-knit friendship over the course of a semester. And it really ramps up to this breaking point because they have different priorities and they have different ideas of what their relationship is, and they don't communicate that. And I feel like that's a really universal problem that people often have, is a lack of communication of what a relationship is, what a friendship is. So that was something that I wanted to explore in this video. And I wanted to kind of look at what a music video was. I watched so many of them and kind of break out of what people thought a music video was. My final project is about 8 minutes long, which is very long for a music video, but that's because I have these narrative scenes placed in, which I think really help the story grow and help to give the characters dimension. These are not two-dimensional characters. They're three-dimensional, they have lives, they have interests, they have ways they feel about the world, and I think it was really fun to me to explore that. And I have this massive focus on ballet, and I brought Gina Ouellette, who is an alum, on to do my choreography, and that was a really good partnership, and we were able to make a lot of really cool things with that. So I want to talk a little bit about Angel and Clarice. So they are my main characters. And Angel is kind of shy and withdrawn, and she's studying science, biology, and she's just kind of getting started on that track, and she has a lot of work ahead of her. And Clarice is laser focused on dance, and that is all she does. There are other things in her life, but there is nothing more important than dance, and that really plays a huge role in their dynamic. And they have this friendship, this relationship that they have not defined, because there's a little bit of an element of romance there, but it's not explored. And that's something that I wanted to explore, because in my life I've had lots of relationships where I wasn't sure if it was going to take that step, if this friendship was going to grow into something romantic or not. And that's something that I found very frustrating, because where is that step? When do you take that step? And so that was something that I wanted to focus in on. And I didn't want to make something that was cliche or overdone or really gay. That was not what this is. I wanted to step away from that, because that is a great niche, and I love that niche, but that's not what this is. I wanted something that was universal. I wanted something that was understated. I wanted something that flew a little bit under the radar, but it was still there. And so I explore all these themes and these questions. I didn't want to give people answers. I wanted people to ask questions, because when we're living our lives, there aren't answers. There are only questions. You may come to some answers about who you are, about how your relationships to people are, but those are all very personal. There are no universal answers for anything. And I wanted to explore these ideas of rejection without being rejected, of things that start but don't go further, of this sense of something that's not unrequited love, but it's just kind of a step behind that. It's something that is different and distinct and has its own flavor, and I'm hoping that that flavor comes out in my capstone. So this project, as you've seen in the film presentations before, takes place in 3 parts. So there's pre-production, production, and post-production. So I will go into depth a little bit about each of those. So pre-production for me started with the music. I studied abroad the fall of my junior year, and I wrote a lot during that semester because I had all this free time. I was taking a lot less classes. I wasn't taking voice lessons. I was in an ensemble that only met, I think, once a week. So I had all this free time to do whatever I wanted, and what I did a lot of was write. And so when I came back in the spring, I had a lot of things to draw from for both my film and my music capstones. And this song specifically is actually about turning down a part in a musical. I sent in an audition video for the spring musical back here at Pacific, which was Into the Woods, and I got cast, which is great, as the smallest part in the show. And it was a really hard decision for me whether to take that or whether to turn that down, because I am not a theater major. I'm not planning on pursuing theater after university. So it was kind of this question of, is this my last chance to be a part of a production like this? Is this my last chance to be a production of this quality? Is this So it was kind of a question of, is this going to end here before I even got a chance to say goodbye, kind of, to theater that I never really got to fully explore? Because one of the things I'm constantly coming back to in this project is you can't do everything. And that was one of those things that I couldn't do everything of. So I decided to decline the part, and it was very upsetting, and I wrote this song about it. And so when I was thinking about the script, once I had settled on this song, when I was thinking about the script, I decided that I wanted it to be about giving something up, because that's the emotion that fueled the song. And so it's about Angel giving up dance. And it's about the rift that really tears between these two people, because that is what has been connecting them. And this big question of, if you're not connected by something, what is there? So like, I have a lot of friends at university, and I wonder, how many of those relationships, how many of those connections are going to continue after graduation? And some of them will, but some of them won't. And so that's just fueling all those questions that I'm trying to explore. And I have a couple storyboards for you to take a look at, and you can see how terrible my drawing is. But they were still helpful to me because I needed to visualize them. Writing down shots wasn't enough. I needed to be able to visualize in space what they were going to look like and try and see what things were going to work and what was not going to work. So going into production, I felt pretty prepared. I had an 11-page script that I knew I was going to need to cut down a lot in editing. I knew that was going to be a big challenge ahead of me. I had to get my cast and crew on board. I had to get costumes and props together. Locations was definitely a big concern of mine, and equipment. So for people, there were a lot of people involved in this project. This was a big production. I've never done such a big production, kind of by myself, with myself as the front person. So I wrote and direct. I had a producer. I had a choreographer. I had a bunch of people helping me out with crew, both from my Capstone class and from media arts in general. And then I cast people, so I cast my 2 lead characters. And as Addison was talking about in her earlier presentation, sometimes you only get a couple people to show up to auditions, and that's who you cast. And that's what happened to me. I had 2 people show up for auditions, and I was really lucky that those 2 people did a great job. That I was really happy to cast them, and I was really excited to be working with them. And I know that's kind of a weird flip of the coin, because I've had projects where we've only had a couple people show up and I wasn't happy with who I got, but I was very satisfied with the level of dedication that Leanna and Emma really brought to this production, and that really helped carry it along. And I had a lot of extras and a lot of dancers, and that was a huge challenge, and I had my choreographer really help me out with finding people, and that was one of the most difficult parts for me, was just getting everybody. So it was all shot on campus. I reserved a weekly time in the dance studio so we could rehearse, because that was an important factor. And we filmed with the black box, because I have these sequences that are kind of out of time. They're not here or there. It's kind of, because in music videos, things don't necessarily have to be linear. They don't have to be real. So I have this kind of regular narrative, and then I have these moments that are just pulling at the emotion. And that was something that was really important to me, to just be able to freeze in a moment and focus on the emotion, because this is a part of my music capstone as well, and the focus of my music capstone is 3 songs that are related, and they're related by the fact that they are all about being stuck in a moment and just feeling those emotions. So I really wanted to play with that. And equipment-wise, I used the Canon Mark II that we have, because I needed to shoot in 60 frames for my slow motion. So post-production, it started off really great. Everything was going awesome. I had everything ready to go, and then everything went wrong. Everything went wrong. In March, I went to class to plug in my drive to show what was about 90% done. My cut was about 90% done, and I had it all color corrected and everything, and I plugged it in and nothing happened. My external hard drive. And I tried it on several different computers. I tried it with different cords. I took it to the technology help desk. I took it to a professional repair place, and last week it was sent out to a recovery lab, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it recovered at all. So that's why we back up our data, My last backup was from December, so I had a lot of work to do. So, yeah. I had to kind of go back to the beginning and start over. So, life without a drive. I went through the steps I needed to do to try and get the stuff back. Once I realized that wasn't going to happen about a week or two ago, I had to download everything from Google Drive in like clumps of 15 clips at a time out of a couple hundred because it wouldn't download more than like 15 at a time. So that took a couple days. I had to relink everything in my project, and I had my final cut, what I wanted it to look like, and I had to match up all the clips, and I had to redo the audio, and I think it's going pretty well. And I will go ahead and show a clip from that, from my recut. So I was able to, with a lot of hard work and lack of sleep, kind of pull something from the ashes.
Thanks for helping me study. I know absolutely nothing about biology.
You didn't learn anything about biology and environmental science.
Was I supposed to?
So, where do you want to study?
Let's see if there's an extra room in the library.
You'll have to tell me about that solo that you're doing for the dance concert.
I'm afraid of the world.
Have a good day.
See you later.
Afraid of what's lurking in wait. With no rule books to guide me. No one can dance forever. Even if you love someone, that doesn't mean it will last forever. You can't hold on after the curtain goes. An empty stage seems so enticing.
Thank you very much. So the past couple weeks, I've been focusing on that short little clip. So I have a lot of work to do ahead of me, but I have a lot of time before the screening. So I'll be able to dedicate a lot of my time to that and be able to get it back up to the level of perfection that I was really striving for from the beginning. So moving forward, I've got my website, I've been working on my resume, and I'm excited for what's after graduation, but I'm also terrified. I am going to be, once all of this is over and the dust has settled from my capstone, I'm going to be applying for jobs in the Portland area. I'm hoping to live in probably eastern Portland next fall, and I'm going to keep making projects. My next project that I am interested in making is a cut paper animation for a song I wrote called Drenched, and I'm really excited about that, and that is about hanging out with my best friend and walking alongside the train tracks at like 1 in the morning before like the last day of the semester, I think freshman year. And so that'll be a lot of fun, and I'm hoping to travel. I've been a bell choir director for the past couple years, so I'm going to be looking for more music things to be doing in the future. And yeah, I'm planning on keeping editing and always having my headphones handy. And I want to thank everyone who supported me in this kind of the post-disaster of losing everything, which is everybody in the media department, all my advisors for both my film and music capstones, and my capstone class especially. Everybody's been really understanding about all of the work that I have to do. And so that I really appreciated that. And I have another presentation because I have so many things going on, and that is at 3:30 in McCready Hall, and that's called The Space in Between. So I will talk about this project and focus more on my 2 other projects. And there's the screening information, which you may have already heard. And at this point, I would like to take questions. Yes.
You mentioned you studied abroad in York, or not York, sorry. You studied abroad, where'd you go?
I was in York, England for that answers, yeah. I was in York, England for a semester. And that was a lot of fun. I took Issues of Taste, which was a film class that was a film theory class that was all about different issues that get brought up in like viewing content and media and what's appropriate and what's those kind of issues of taste. And then I took an American Studies class that was yeah, this picture was taken right before I went and shot the classroom scenes, which were really big, and I had a lot of extras for that. So I just made a big pot of chili and baked potatoes and brought it with me on my bike. It was great.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So you have worked now collaboratively, you have worked in projects that you were the lead for something. What position do you feel the most comfortable coordinating with?
I really love editing. I love not having to work with other people. Although the funny thing is all my problems were technical, so I don't know where that comes from. But I also really loved the cinematography. I really loved being behind the camera, and that's something that I've been wanting to explore more, and I've really got to take that and run with that with this project. Because in the past I haven't had as much creative freedom behind the camera as maybe I would have wanted. I've maybe been doing sound, or I've been doing, I'm very organized, so I often get into a producer role when I'm in a group, but that's not necessarily where I would like to be most. I really loved being behind the camera for this, and that was probably one of my favorite parts. All right, I think we are out of time. Unless anyone has a quick question. I did talk a lot.